Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's Sarcasm Speaks. Jared and Bob here, flying at you on a Thursday morning for you guys at 12:01 a.m. midnight for our super fans that that stay up to fucking download it as soon as it goes live, or like shout out to Sexy Chris, you just working overnight and this happens to be like lunchtime for you. Whatever that may be, welcome. So I have something that I wanted to lead with that kind of follows the theme that we've been covering over the last few episodes. So there were riots in Dublin a few days ago because of a stabbing. So off the top of, right off the top of it, right? Someone got stabbed. Why are there riots? So the cliff notes of the story, 3 children were stabbed outside of a school in Dublin last Thursday, the U.S. Thanksgiving, for those of you in the United States. But if you're not in the U.S., then last Thursday was just a regular old Thursday for you. So on that Thursday in Dublin, 3 kids were stabbed outside of a school. One of them was a 5-year-old girl, was considered seriously injured. The other 2 were considered moderately injured. So obviously never a good thing, right? There was a school staff member that intervened that was also seriously injured before a nearby delivery driver, who happened to be a Brazilian man, swung his helmet at the attacker. I'm assuming this delivery driver, again, we're in Europe here, so I'm assuming this delivery driver was on some sort of moped. And there was a crowd that came afterwards after the delivery driver got off and swung his helmet at the dude. And then a crowd came over and like beat the shit out of this guy until the cops showed up. So the guy got what he deserved. However, the police are not releasing his identity beyond saying that he's a man in his 50s. However, it quickly spread that the man was an Algerian immigrant. The news led to a crowd to form in central Dublin, where protesters said Ireland needed to reduce immigration and protect the country's children and culture. Protesters faced off against the police and riots erupted around nightfall. So things were fine until it got dark, and then the shitheads came out, right, as they usually do. Several officers were injured and 34 people were arrested. The police came out and said, these are scenes that we have not seen in decades. Anyone familiar with Irish history, riots aren't, this isn't the first time there's been riots and explosions and fires in the streets of Ireland there. We don't need to get into it. You can just Google it. There's a lot there for you to read, so don't worry. And then the president of Ireland, I didn't know they had a president, but came out and said those involved have brought shame on Dublin, shame on Ireland and themselves and their families. This is not who we are. This is not who we want to be. This is not who we will ever be. So there's been a lot of sentiment in Ireland to challenge the immigration policy, which again, kind of is that common theme over the last couple of weeks that we've been talking about, right? With Argentina, Javier Milei wins the presidential election down there as an independent, right? As a third party candidate, says fuck everybody else. It literally says fuck the government, right? And he gets elected president, and now he's trying to gut all the unnecessary departments of the government. And then the other day we talked about the Netherlands elected a party that media companies are calling far right, right? I don't know if it is far right or not, but the main stance of that political party that was elected was anti-immigration. Now in Ireland, there was just a riot and a protest around immigration because an Algerian immigrant, right? Presumably also his race has really nothing to do with it. It probably has the fact that he has some sort of fucking severe mental illness. But nevertheless, he's not Irish, right? He's not from that country, allegedly, right? We don't have confirmation of that either, but that's the story as it comes right now. And I got this from Roca News, so they're not gonna, they're not one of those Washington Post, fucking New York Times bullshit where they're just gonna print something just for, just to get it out there. They're gonna do their due diligence, and they're pretty down the middle. So yeah, that's Ireland right now. There's a lot of people that are anti-immigration, and the current government is kind of allowing this to happen, right? They're just, again, I'm not familiar with the Irish immigration policy, but I am familiar with this riot and the fact that a lot of people in Ireland are fed up with the bullshit. So
Yeah, I mean, this kind of is just so other countries are better at doing it than we are. I guess they're more likely to act and riot and shit like that. Because like here, it's like it's just too big, it's too spread out. Like there could be riots every day at the fucking Texas border, and we wouldn't even know because we're just like numb to that just being like a fucking problem.
right, right.
But I think you're definitely starting to see I don't know if it's quite the hypocrisy of it all, but everybody wants like all these things like, oh, we want open borders and do whatever you want and all this bullshit and whatever. And then like when it hits home, all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, no, this sucks.
Yeah.
And it's like you saw it in New York a little bit. Like it's like, they were all about like, yeah, immigrants, awesome. Yeah, whatever. And then it's like, no, we have too many. It's like
Yeah.
they're not stop coming now. They're coming.
Yeah.
You wanted this. This is what you wanted. Oh, well, not this much. Yeah. Oh,
Right.
oh,
Oh,
oh, oh,
and then
oh.
what's the narrative? Oh, we don't have the infrastructure to deal with them like a state like Texas does. It's
Yeah,
like,
but Texas has been very upfront from the very beginning that they don't want it.
right. And also Texas doesn't have the infrastructure
Yeah,
either.
what infrastructure?
That's a bullshit response. That's we want them here, but we don't want to deal with them. That's what they're saying, right?
Yep.
We want them here, or we don't care. It's hard to say they want them here. Some people certainly think they do, but regardless of what they actually want, like they don't care if they come in, is what happens, and they just don't want to deal with them.
Well, I think
they
at the
don't.
state
They
level,
just want Texas
there
to deal with them.
there must be like federal money coming from somewhere. Like if you house immigrants, like it's got to be federal. Because I don't understand why these states would want all these people here. Like I don't understand who benefits.
So it has to do with voting. So the thought process behind it is the Democrats want all the immigrants to come in so that they will then vote for Democrats.
Don't you have to be a citizen to vote?
Depends on who you ask.
That's really the argument.
Yeah, and I mean theoretically, the people that come in find a path to citizenship, right? And then because the Democratic policy allowed them to come in and get this said path to citizenship, they would then vote Democrat.
So if you own a hotel in, let's say, a southeastern Massachusetts city, that doesn't really make sense as to why there's a hotel there. And you can get federal money, or I guess it would be state money, for hosting just like a bunch of immigrants in there. Are we not believing that that somehow comes from the federal government at some point? Like, why else would because I'm like, so the voting thing, fine, but then it's like we're kind of going down a really sketchy road of Like, because if you ask because you gotta ask a politician, why do you want these people here? Now, without truth serum, you're not getting the answer,
Right.
but it's got to be money or power. And on paper, they're not allowed to vote. Now,
Right.
what happens, behind the scenes, I don't want to get into that because all the election stuff's all speculation because none of it can be proven yet.
Right.
But there's got to be federal funding for the states if they've got so many like that's the only thing that I can come up with because otherwise it doesn't make any fucking sense. And it's like
Yeah.
I don't know, like maybe it is voting. I just don't buy it. Like it doesn't seem like a good enough argument for me. And that's probably what people say. And it's probably an easy thing to be like, oh, all the Democrats want to do is get the votes. But I'm like, but what votes? Like, they're not legally allowed to vote. And it's like, they're not going to show up and say they're me. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, like they just lie,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm missing. I've always been missing something with the illegal immigrant thing. I'll never fucking get that. Said that a million times. I'll never understand it. But I got to imagine, like that's the thing. Like for me, the only thing that I'll accept as like a legitimate thing is federal funding's coming from hosting these people. I'm like way off topic, and I don't know why. I feel like there was like a point to make. Connect from there.
Potentially. I don't know.
Well, because okay, yeah, okay. No, I know where I was going. So it's like if it's coming in federally, it's like oh, federal money. It's free money. It's
Right.
like
Yeah.
it's like
Free
Liberty
money.
from 2019, free
Yeah.
money. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, we want the free money. Well, but there's too many now. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you want your free money? Yeah. We'll take them in. Well, we can't. It's too many. Then no more free money. Well, that's like
Right.
that's the only thing that makes sense in my head. Cause the voting thing, that's gonna fucking backfire soon enough. People are gonna be fucking pissed.
Yeah. Well, you see, like I said, you're starting to see it now, right? In other countries, again, as the lead, right? In Ireland, they're pissed. They've already made the voting choice, right? Be known in Argentina and Netherlands. Um, you're seeing a little bit of a groundswell here, right? I mean, like you said to a different point that you made before about like the stuff going on at the border, like immigration is such a belabored topic in this country that like yes there's a lot of people that are starting to swing in the direction of like the anti-immigration thing, but like no one really wants to fucking talk about it because like I said everyone's been beat down about it. um so yeah, I mean, that's not to say that I don't still think that something might come from it, but it could backfire, like you said. The people here, right, the current citizens might say fuck it. But then I've also heard stories about in the past the uh like Democrats, if you will, more so liberal people are less inclined to be friendly to immigrants coming from true socialist countries. And why do you think that is?
In true actuality, I have no fucking idea.
Because the people that come from legitimate socialist countries like a Cuba or Venezuela, when they come into this country, they ain't voting for socialist fucking things, right? The reason why they're leaving their country is because socialism has fucking destroyed their country. So when they come here, they're more apt to vote Republican, right? They're more conservative. So the liberals are less apt to assist immigrants from true socialist countries.
That's good too. So not only is it like, oh yeah, open the borders, but only to the countries we want.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, where are you from? Okay, you can come on in. Oh, you're from Venezuela? Yeah, we're gonna have to detain you.
Yeah.
It's a 40-day wait period, 45-day wait period, and then we'll probably send you back to Venezuela. But don't worry, we'll call you when we're ready for your court case.
Hey, maybe what'll happen is by the next election, like everyone will kind of like start going the other way, and there'll be like this like red wave
Yeah.
like turnover.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, would be. If the
Just watch out
Republicans
though.
weren't
You don't
fucking
want to get
retarded.
you don't want to get toppled by that red wave.
Yeah. Yeah, bring your fucking swimmies.
It's Medford High versus Everett 2007.
Wearing a fucking snorkel and flippers down the hallway. The Crimson Tide's coming. It's the red wave. Get ready. Yeah. Except Everett actually did fucking come and the red wave did not because the Republicans suck too. So yeah, I mean,
they're all fucking assholes.
Kind of similar to that. I saw this thing the other day that Dan Holloway actually posted from the Drinking Bros podcast. There is, so again, this is back to Ireland, and this is their government, the current state of their government, and why people are so pissed. So the Irish government is proposing to pass legislation regarding hate speech that in this line says offense of preparing or possessing material likely to incite violence or hatred against persons on account of their protected characteristics. So then it goes into like a bunch of legal mumbo jumbo, subject to whatever prepares or possesses material, yada yada. Any of those characteristics with a view to the material being communicated to the public or a section of the public, whether by himself or herself or another person, and prepares or possesses such material with intent to incite violence or hatred, whatever, can be prosecuted and arrested. So if you have a book, right? If you are in possession of a book that is deemed dangerous, right? It contains hate speech. By this new law, theoretically, you could be arrested. Now, it's a stretch, right? Like let's be kind of fair here. It's a stretch, right? Like if you owned a book from Ben Shapiro, right? Like say in one of Ben Shapiro's books, he wrote there are only two genders and transgenderism is a mental disorder, right? Like that's what Ben Shapiro says all the time. So if that made its way into one of his books and someone deemed that hate speech, there's a potential that you could have criminal repercussions for being in possession of that book. Now, the other part of that, right, is the intent to incite violence. So that's where it gets gray, right? Like normal people sitting around a table would be like, oh yeah, well, that means that like they're going to go start a rally or try and start a lynch mob or something, right? But it's not out of the realm of possibility to assume that in the legal world, things can be stretched to mean different things, right? Like, what if you had that Ben Shapiro book and you were on your way to I don't know, some sort of meeting where like there's Catholic people, right? Like you're going to church. like I don't know. Like obviously you're not going to incite violence at a church. Well, it's obvious to me. But again, could a lawyer make that argument? Like, I don't know. I don't know if there's like a rally. So there's an anti-immigration rally. Let's do that. So you're at an anti-immigration rally and you have a Ben Shapiro book in your backpack. You might be able to get arrested
Guilty.
for hate
Just
speech.
guilty. Just skip a step. Right to guilty.
So yeah, I know like us saying here and me like sitting here and me saying this, some people are going to be like, dude, that's way too much of a stretch. That's fucking stupid. But what's really stupid is that the government is going to or is attempting to establish a literal law on the books that says if you are in possession of something that is deemed hateful, you can be tried.
I missed this at the beginning. Is this the federal government or is this a state?
This is Ireland.
Oh, this is Ireland.
So
Well,
this
back to
is,
Ireland. What the fuck?
yeah,
What, do they have nothing better to do?
yeah, basically.
They run
Well,
out of booze.
it was I was piggybacking on like why the riots were kind of they weren't necessarily fueled by that, but the general feeling in Ireland is we're sick of this liberal foo-foo government.
They're probably due for like a rebellion, right?
Yeah, I mean, when was their last one? In the
I don't know. I don't know my Irish history.
Was it 60s? When was the IRA? The car bombs and all that bullshit? Why you can't go
Yeah.
like as a dumb American go over and ask for an Irish car bomb? You get punched in the face.
Plus, why would you?
Yeah.
You got to be a real fucking idiot to do that.
Oh yeah.
Like you're like 7 of brain cells function to do that. Like you suck.
Even to order it like how it
Full order
actually
it.
is, right?
Period.
Be like, yeah, can I get a Guinness with a shot of Bailey's and Jameson?
Oh, and drop it in it so I
Yeah.
can chug it before it curdles.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's just dumb.
Um, yeah, like let's go Ireland. Let's make some let's make some fucking heads roll. Make something happen. Sounds like you guys are fed up with the bullshit.
I don't know which ones are the Catholics.
Oh, Jude. Do not know.
I think it's the Irish. I think the Northern Ireland is the Protestants. Right? Because why else would people say, oh, he's an Irish Catholic? Like you're not going to say they don't say like, oh, he's a Northern Irish Catholic.
Um, yeah, because the Protestants effectively came from England, most like kinda, or by
Um,
proxy,
I think so.
by reputation, right?
Oh shit. 42% of people in Northern Ireland are Catholic.
So what's the 58? Protestant?
Yeah, so it's like 16% Presbyterian, 12% the Church of Ireland, 2% Methodist, and 7% other Christian, and then 18% non-religious.
So it's not even Protestant.
No, it's just other Christians.
Dude, I don't know. So this is the other thing. I don't know my Irish history well enough. It's like I thought it was like Protestants versus the Catholics, and that's why like people still fuck it up to this day and like undermine how bad it actually was over there, where people now go, well, if you drink Bushmills, that's the certain religion. And Glenfiddich, that's the other one. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Oh, okay. So this is just weird. So in Ireland proper, 69% nice of people in Ireland are Catholic. So like this is what it is. 69% are Catholic, 15% are no religion, and then like 7% is like other. So like an overwhelming majority of people in Ireland are Catholic, even though technically the majority of people in Northern Ireland are also Catholic. It's kind of half and half. But that's funny because like you said, I always thought it was like the Catholics versus the Protestants. Like I thought that was like the driving factor of like the Irish fucking
Yeah,
revolution.
they don't teach Irish history.
No, they don't. They don't.
I'm not saying we should, because we learn a lot of history about a lot of countries, and most people can't even grasp American.
Yeah. Huh. So that's also not even the Irish Revolution. So apparently the Irish Revolution happened in the 1910s and 20s. And they, I don't know. The Irish
What the fuck
led
was
to
it
the
called?
Irish Civil War. I don't know.
Wasn't like what was the big dispute called? Like wasn't there a name?
The Irish War of Independence was
When was
fought.
that?
Okay, so it is from 1919 to 1921. The IRA, the Irish Republican Army, and British forces. So it was the Irish Revolution, or whatever, War of Independence. So it happened in the 20s. That was 40 years off. I thought it was the 60s. Yeah, so it's Michael Collins, right? I do know
Oh,
Michael Collins.
did
Right? Like
anything happen in the 60s?
um probably not. I mean, there might have been like some leftover fucking, you know, fighting, right? Like when it comes to religion, right? Like the whole Middle East has been fighting for thousands of
God,
years. Like I'm pretty sure if there was there could have been fighting here 40 years later.
jeez, this goes back a long time. I don't need to know what happened in the 1100s.
Let's see. Last conflict in Ireland. No, I'm getting. So I just Googled the last conflict in Ireland, and I'm getting all the stories about the riots last week after the stabbing. Oh, there were Viking wars in Ireland. Um,
Okay, there was okay.
yeah, it was the
Bloody Sunday was in the 70s.
okay. All right,
So
cool.
like
So
shit did
that's what I
happen. I was like, I'm
that's what I
sitting
thought.
here and I'm like, listen, I'm not expecting like the divide of the country to be like 60s, 70s, but yeah, Bloody Sunday was in the 70s, 72.
Okay. All right, so I wasn't far off then.
Something definitely happened.
Yeah, there's a lot of somethings. A lot of somethings were happening. Hmm. Bloody Friday was in 1972 also. The Spring Hill Massacre. It's a lot of crazy
Although,
shit.
although my quick my quick maths, this might have only been a Northern Ireland thing
Okay.
because it happened in Northern Ireland, but I don't know about regular Ireland.
Yeah. I don't either. Like you said, they don't teach you Irish history in school.
No, I don't. Again, I don't think we need to know most history, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like they think they teach you like Italian history, but they don't. They just teach you like Roman history.
Yeah, it's ancient history, really.
Yeah,
It just so
I would say
happens that
because Italy wasn't a country until like 1860.
yeah, might have been even later.
Could have been. I don't know. I just figured. I thought it was around our Civil War is when Italy became like the Republic of Italy.
Yeah, because it was city states,
Yep.
which is kind of funny to think that like just over 100 years ago, Italy was still city states. Like again, we learned about that in school in history about like that was ancient Greece, right? And like Macedonia and all those places, like those were city states.
Unification 1861.
Okay.
And then Republic was after World War II. No, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
I was
Yeah, that
gonna
makes
say
sense.
I felt like it did like something happened after World War II. That's why I said I thought it was
Well, yeah,
later.
because whatever the fuck Mussolini was doing.
Yeah. So getting yelled at by Hitler on a fucking meth tirade, which is actually a great segue. Um, because
Hitler and meth tirades segues into anything.
yes, it does actually. Because in quite possibly the biggest no shit Sherlock moment um I saw the other day, I just pulled it up here. A team of Swedish researchers, thank God for Sweden, right, for doing fucking God's work, found that drugs used to treat ADHD lead to a higher risk of heart disease. To which again, I say, no fucking shit, huh?
Is there
Amphetamines cause heart disease, huh?
So I was gonna say, Mr. Biology, so good at it, he can just roll into an MTEL and pass. And I'm pretty sure I'm describing chemistry. Did you do the chemistry MTEL?
No, I did not.
Okay. I'll say it because did you roll into that and pass too?
I
I was
did
gonna say
teach chemistry in high school, though. I taught the chemistry class
what I
for
was gonna
Miss
say
Carnabucci.
what is ADHD medicine? Like I don't know what the fuck it is.
So it's just Adderall and Ritalin.
Which so the category is amphetamines, like you said.
Yeah, it is
That oh
literally
weird.
an amphetamine.
That causes heart disease.
Yeah,
It's not good to like
big surprise.
hit uppers that hard. Because amphetamines are uppers, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like they are like esto facto uppers.
yes, yep. It's about as upper as it gets without being like cocaine. Some would argue that amphetamines could potentially be worse than cocaine. So like
Comes out of the
Coke,
ground, dude.
Coke is going to give you a super more powerful up, right? Like it's a more powerful upper than an amphetamine, but it only lasts for like 20, 30 minutes. Like an amphetamine might be like a lower grade. Like if cocaine is a 10, right? Amphetamines are probably like a 7, but they're going to last like 12 hours.
That's good for the heart, actually.
Yeah.
The heart
Yeah.
likes to be overworked for prolonged periods of time.
Yeah. In my experience, I found that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, who would have thought, though?
Who would have thought?
I'm glad someone came out and established this.
Yeah. So the study looked at health data for almost 300,000 people diagnosed with ADHD, and they tracked their health data for roughly 4 years and found that compared to those who didn't take ADHD drugs, those who did for 3 to 5 years were 27% more likely to develop heart disease and 72% more likely to develop high blood pressure.
Yeah, but how? So there's also a uh just like there's like black Twitter and Scottish Twitter and gambling Twitter. Did you know that there's ADHD Instagram?
Really? I didn't know that.
Now, I don't know how I stumbled upon this, which is interesting because I have my suspicions. If you guys have listened to me, you might be thinking the reason it showed up is because you fucking have ADHD or one of them. I don't know. And yeah, so there's like memes just completely dedicated to ADHD. And I think I found so this is the problem is like you find one, I'm like, oh, that's funny. So you go to the next one, and now you're like kind of looking through them, and now all of a sudden it's in your algorithm.
Right. Right.
That's probably what happened. Because they're all about like just like completely ripping and abusing yourself of caffeine. Well, caffeine's not an amphetamine, but they have very similar effects on the body.
Right.
But like, fucking, like someone was like, yeah, you just have like a gram of caffeine. Like you have ADHD when you have a gram of caffeine before like 9 a.m. just to get ready to go for the day. It's like, what?
Yeah.
That is a shitload.
Yeah. I heard a really interesting conversation recently on a podcast. I forget which one it was. Might have been a Rogan podcast with someone. Um, where I think it was Gary Brecka. Um, he described the way amphetamines work in the body, and I thought this was like phenomenal. So he talks about with ADHD, right? It's a problem that your nervous system, no, your brain, right, is moving too quickly, right? You have attention deficit hyperactive disorder, right? Like you're kind of looking different places, whatever. And the solution is to give you an amphetamine to then jack up your nervous system to match your brain.
There's your gram of caffeine before 9 a.m.
And that's what brings people back into level. So he was like, the brain is going haywire. So our solution is to give you drugs that make the rest of your body go haywire. But because your brain and your body are on the same wavelength, which is haywire, you feel calm. That's why they say people with ADHD take amphetamines, right? Whether it's Adderall, Ritalin, Vyvanse, whatever it is, and they quote unquote calm down. But if a person like you or I take, or maybe at least me, take an Adderall or a Vyvanse, it's like being on amphetamines. Like you just get like, if people talk about it all the time, they're like, oh, I just get shit done. I'm hyper focused. I go, I do this, I run, I do that. I run. It's like, yeah, because you're on amphetamines. But like I said, it's not a real solution for people with ADHD. And again, this guy, Gary Brecka, proposed like you need to find a way to calm the mind and relax the mind. So, like, if your body is calm and your mind is haywire, the solution isn't to then make your body haywire to match your mind. It's to calm the mind. So then both your mind and your body are relaxed, not both at haywire.
Yeah, I'm only getting some of the stuff I follow right now, and then like some of the like work memes,
Yeah.
like people who hate being at work memes. I don't know how to describe it. Those are pretty good too. Even though I don't work a corporate job though, so it's like none of it applies to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not getting any of the ADHD stuff right now.
Yeah. It's in, so then to put a bow on it, in the most um pharmaceutical world way, the results are as follows here. So again, the researchers that do this presumably work for these drug companies, right? So the conclusion here is, while the drugs are known to increase heart rate, the researchers said more research must be done to find out why they are negatively impacting heart health.
You're shitting me.
And one of the researchers said that the benefits of ADHD medication often outweighs the cost. And he said the findings, quote, highlight the importance of carefully weighing potential benefits and risks, end quote, about treating ADHD.
That's the first time I gotta double back. What you said was the first time that anyone's ever made any sense to me as to why some people can abuse Adderall, whatever. But like it, like because it's like it gets them like amped up. They use it as like low grade cocaine.
Right.
Yet people with the disease, it calms them. I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. That's the first time I heard that.
Yeah.
First compelling argument.
Yeah.
Anyway, so how are we gonna figure out how these like health effects are negative?
But like, does it get any more like a pharmaceutical company paid for that study? Right? Like, oh, what did the study find? Oh, people that take ADHD drugs, oh, they're 27% more likely to have heart disease and 72% more likely to have high blood pressure. Oh, that's a bad thing. We should stop prescribing ADHD meds. No, no, no,
No,
no.
no,
No, no,
no,
no, no,
no,
no,
no,
no. We need to do more research.
no.
We don't know why this is happening. This could be a coincidence. We need more research. You know, there's pros and cons here, right? Like you don't want an unruly child, right? No, no, you can't do that. You want don't you want to be able to focus? You need to be able to focus when you go to work every day. You need these drugs.
Big money.
Yeah. Don't worry, because then the same companies that make this down the line will also make fucking hypertension medication and fucking heart disease meds, right? It's all the same shit. It's you're
Just
just
spinning money around itself.
yeah, yeah. And these companies are making literal millions of dollars off of you as a person because you take Ritalin you've been taking Ritalin for 7 years. Now you have high blood pressure. Okay, well, now we're going to put you on high blood pressure medication, which is then going to throw off something else, right? Like then maybe you get depression, right? So then you take an antidepressant, and then that is going to mess up your hormone profile, right? So now you got low testosterone, and now you got
They
to
ain't
take,
prescribing that though.
and now,
They'll
well,
give you
no,
an
now you got to take
anti-cortisol or whatever.
Viagra, right? Like,
Oh, true. That's big money.
so it's like, I forget what it was. I'm going to Google this because I want to know the number. Um, the average number of pills taken by Americans. I want to say it's like 4.2.
I'll take none and like it. Thoughts?
What'd you say?
I'll take none and like it.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
exactly. um, prescription drug statistics in the United States. About 66% of US adults are prescribed drugs. 66% of adults in this country have a prescription for some drug, at least one. That's insane. The leading drug classes in the US are ready antihypertensive,
Yeah.
pain reliever, and mental health drugs. Wow. But I want to know like the average number. I want to say I heard somewhere it was 4.2. So like it's not the average American takes 4.2, right? It's of the people, of the 66%, right? Like of those 66% of people that are prescribed drugs or take prescription drugs in this country, of those people, I think the average is 4.2 medications or something like that. It's something wild.
Which is funny because if that's the average, that means people are on like fucking
Yeah, like 7.
10. Well, because for every one, you need an 8
Right.
if averages are going to work out.
Right. Right. Yeah. Um, okay. Percent. This is from, this is from the CDC. Um, percent of people using 3 or more prescription drugs in the last 30 days, 24%. 24% of people use 3 or more prescription drugs at a time.
Seems like a lot.
Yeah. That is a very lot. Like I said, I can't get the exact number, but 24% of people take at least 3 prescription drugs. That's wild. So yeah, we don't know why. We don't know why
Oh,
amphetamines cause heart problems.
no, can't figure it out.
Yeah.
It's a mystery.
But I guarantee you, right? Because this is the other thing that they do, right? They use names like Ritalin and Vyvanse and Adderall and all that. And I bet you if you took a random person on the street and you asked them, what do you think would happen to your heart if you took amphetamines for an extended period of time? They'd be like, oh, it would fuck it up. Right. But people don't realize that they're amphetamines because we don't call them amphetamines. We call them by their drug brand name.
They should have to use like beer descriptions where it's like meth light, meth ultra light, meth ice.
Yeah. Well, a methamphetamine technically is different than an amphetamine.
Whatever. Amphetamine light,
Yeah.
amphetamine ice.
Amp ice.
Yeah,
What would
we
that
can
even
short it
be?
down. We can have it roll off the tongue a little bit better with amp. I'm good with that.
Yeah. Amp ice. That would be like
Amps.
a extended release Vyvanse or something.
Yeah, it's gotta be a little bit more powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, amp diesels, amp lights,
Yeah, like the fucking 30 milligram.
amp ultralights.
Yeah, that's the 5 milligram or the 2.5 milligram.
Non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
Just sugar pills.
Yeah, that's just fucking Tylenol. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. All right, what do we got here? I got one more thing. It's been sitting on here for a while that I want to bring up. And then we'll wrap things up. So it kind of runs a little bit with the theme of today or of late, but I think it's funny that Russia, right? So I know right now Russia equal bad, right? Because Ukraine equal good. But Russia and Vladimir Putin in particular is trying to get the country or the government, right, to file the LGBTQ plus AIP, whatever, group as a terrorist organization.
That's interesting. Is there any reason as to why they want to? Now, besides them being like fucking crazy fucking Russians, do they have any actual backing for that outside of like intolerance and religion or whatever?
Yeah, stand by. Let me see if I can pull up.
Because I'm fascinated as to their logical reasoning.
Yeah. So this is from the BBC, right, which is pretty left leaning. Russia seeks extremist label for LGBTQ plus whatever movement.
Extremist label. Okay, that's actually less of a reach.
Yeah, so Russia's justice ministry has filed a motion with the country's Supreme Court to ban the activities of what it calls the international LGBT public movement as extremist. It's unclear whether the ministry's statement refers to the LGBT community as a whole or specific organizations. It is said the movement has shown signs of, quote, extremist activity, including inciting social and religious strife. The ban could leave any LGBT activists vulnerable to criminal prosecution. Prosecution.
Excuse me, criminal what?
Yeah, that's a Freudian slip, huh? Prosecution. The The extremist label has been used in the past by Russian authorities against rights organizations and opposition groups, such as Alexei Navalny's Anti-Corruption Foundation, whatever. And now it's going to go into like other shit, all that stuff. And people are saying essentially it would entail criminal prosecution based solely on one's orientation or identity and all this stuff. So Putin has come out and said, though, that's not what it is. It's the actions of all these people that is, you know, we can't allow it, right? He's basically saying like, there's like people are fucking shit up under the guise of like the rainbow flag. And he's like, I don't give a shit whether you're gay, straight, fucking purple, yellow, green, brown. If you fuck shit up, like I'm going to put you in jail, basically, is what he's saying. Yeah, because this is Russia and this is what they do. Now he's just taking it a step further and saying that the entire movement is going to be classified as an extremist organization. But again, I'm not familiar with the goings on of LGBT organizations in Russia, right? If they're
It's
like,
gotta be a fucking deadly game, man.
if they're running around like fucking blowing up cars and shit, like I don't know. They're Russian, right? Like they might be throwing like Molotov cocktails through like businesses that don't serve, that won't make a gay cake, right? In the United States, we get pissed and tweet about it. In Russia, they might literally light a Molotov cocktail and throw it through the fucking business, right? Like who knows? They're crazy.
Yeah, because that's the thing is like for just as crazy as Russia is like going the other way, it's just still Russia, man.
They're still Russians, right? Place. At the end of the day, they're still Russians. Like just because they belong to the LGBT community doesn't mean that like they're not crazy Russians.
Could be fucking dude. Like that's the thing is like they could be fucking extremists. Like
yeah.
They could be fucking doing God knows what. Like,
that's what I mean. In this country, they just tweet.
Would you bat an eye if they were like, oh, the LGBTQ community in Russia burned down a church because the church said that being gay is a sin or something?
I wouldn't be surprised at all. I'd be like, yeah, they're Russian.
Yeah, like would you like sit there and be like, oh my God, what happened? Or would you sit there and be like, yeah, that's Russia.
Yeah, like, yeah, obviously that's what they do.
Like that shit kind of sucks, but
they're crazy motherfuckers.
That's what you get over there. Yeah, the details would be good because I can definitely, so I can see two things here. I can see it potentially, I can see a situation where it's true. Like, again, like we just said, like crazy Russians doing crazy shit.
Yeah.
I can also see it being like, you know what? I don't like them. Let's find a way where we can just, throw them in jail and shit.
Yeah.
And like, once you get them, then it's like, they're fucked. I could see that too.
Right. Yeah. It could easily be, either or a little bit of both.
That's true. Both could be true.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not mutually exclusive. But I got a little chuckle, right? Because I thought about that. And I was like, imagine if like the LGBT community in Russia is just crazy, right? And they're fucking blowing up shit left and right and setting fires and committing arson and all this stuff. And Putin's like, yeah, I'm going to name them an extremist group. But in the West, everyone's like, oh my God, oh, what a fucking bigot. What is this? Meanwhile, this guy's like, dude, they're fucking up my country.
Right. Well, that's the hard part is we don't know because we would never hear that report.
Oh, right. It's just funny. It's funny to think of it that way, right?
I like that. I get a kick out of that. Like Russia, it's amazing.
They're hard motherfuckers.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Always fuck. It's basically Buffalo. Their entire country is basically Buffalo. It's always fucking cold. It's gray.
Yeah, it's
shitty. It's actually worse. It's actually worse. Yeah.
There's more poverty, worse weather.
Yeah. Yep.
More of it. Like the biggest of it.
Yeah, like the biggest country in the fucking world by area.
I mean, they added some color on the Kremlin, right? Or is that just all of Moscow? I don't know. I feel like we did do Russian. We did Russian
We did
history.
Russian history, yeah, because it's European. We did European history.
Yeah, but we didn't cover Ireland.
No, Ireland's not important enough in European history. Just made some people mad with that comment, but
I know, but it's no, like actually, truthfully, like from a global perspective, what has Ireland done?
right, right.
I just
It's like
figured
the
with
same reason why we didn't learn anything about like Finnish history, right? Like they're just countries that aren't on the global stage.
historically significant.
Yeah. Like we didn't learn about Spanish history, right? Or Portuguese history.
If you go back far enough, we did all the explorers,
Yeah, but that's kind of bullshit. That we didn't learn about like real Spanish history.
conquistadors. Didn't we cover that stuff?
That was in Mexico.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe we did.
Like we did Greece and
What
Rome.
happened in Portugal
I
outside
don't
of
I
explorers?
don't know.
Well,
I don't
maybe
know.
it's
We never
nothing.
talked
Maybe they're
about it.
just the fucking Finland of the other side.
I mean, I would imagine at some point there had to be a revolution from Spain because their country is completely fucking engulfed by Spain. So at some point in their history, they had to fight them and take that land.
It's only 6 hours to fly there.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah. It's the same like if you were going to fly to California.
Mm. Bro, Portugal's been around for a long time. They were a kingdom as early as 1139. They were sovereign as in 1128. Like we ain't going that far back. It's too far back.
Yeah.
They were established too long. That's why we didn't learn about them. Because then after once they were established, yes, they gave us like pretty lights out explorers, but seriously, what have they done?
They literally discovered the world.
Well, you dismissed the explorers. I gave you that one. You said no.
Yeah, but so
Therefore, Portugal is useless.
that's not Portuguese history. That's world history that a bunch of people that discovered the world were from Portugal. You know what I mean? Like we didn't
But
learn
the
about what
reason we learned
happened
about
in Portugal.
these other countries' history is because it had some global impact.
Right. Like we didn't learn about
Just because you're
German
Portuguese
history.
doesn't mean, well, yeah, well, I mean, well, the relevant stuff we did.
Well, yeah, I mean World War II
What was
and
the
World
Ottoman
War
Empire?
One,
Who were they?
the Turkey.
That was Turkey. That wasn't Germany. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude.
But like Germany, I don't think was a country even for a while. Like if you go way back, it was the Gauls. Like if you go back to Roman times, the Gauls were there. So it was like, I don't know. We didn't really do much about any of that.
But when we needed to learn about Germany, we did.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when the World War One and Two came around.
Right. Well, what do we need them for? Like, that's the thing is like, so, like, look, okay. Seriously, where am I? Am I still? Oh, I'm on Spain. Man, it would be interesting to go back. Portugal was sovereign before Spain by like 400 years.
Hmm.
Now, again, we'd have to go back into it. That's what I mean is like, I think Portugal just fucking lied in the weeds and was like,
Yeah.
no, we're just going to have this country that's like kind of fucking cool. And like, we just kind of like won't tell anyone about it. But again, we're going to have to go like way back to like figure this shit out. It's like, I don't want to do that. Like, what was Spain pre 1479?
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't care.
So
Never mind, because everything was Africa once upon a time. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah.
Everything was Pangea,
Well,
but
you go back far enough, then you could just get Pangea. So I don't know. You wanna wrap this up?
we can wrap this up.
All right.
I got multiple final thoughts on here. What am I gonna go with? Let's go back to it's not quite chemistry, it's endocrinology. So Michaela let me know that on social media, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, there's been a big push on cortisol. So to oversimplify cortisol is a stress hormone.
Right.
Having high levels of cortisol, not great.
Yes.
Again, just
chronically high is not great.
Not great. And we'll just kind of keep it at that because this isn't an endocrinology lesson. But there are all these people, influencers, whatever, accounts, trying to hack cortisol in a way. Well, you know more about endocrinology than I do, so you know more about the hormones than I do. My understanding of cortisol is it's related to stress.
Mm-hmm.
The more stress you have, the higher your cortisol. The less you sleep, higher the cortisol. Shittier you eat, higher the cortisol. The less you exercise, higher the cortisol. Am I fucking missing something here?
No, you're basically there. I mean, there's more to it with exercise. Exercising actually causes a spike in cortisol, but
being in shape,
there's a good cortisol is actually good sometimes.
in reasonable levels.
Yeah, it wakes you up from sleep. Like it plays a
It
plays a
sure
role.
fucking does.
Yeah, it plays a role in the sleep cycle. So like,
Oh, it sure does. Because when you're up at 3 a.m. So this is
yeah,
the thing too. So now these people are trying to like hack cortisol as if it's like cortisol is the only thing that is making you not reaching whatever
yeah,
goals you want.
yeah. It's cortisol's the only thing.
It's
Yeah,
only
yeah.
cortisol.
Yep. That's it.
Now, if you
Yeah.
just listen to me in my oversimplification, where I said high levels of stress, poor sleep, poor nutrition, poor exercise. If you're poor in all of those areas, how do you think your fucking life is going to be in your ability to handle stress? And like, do you think you're going to sleep well? And do you think you're going to maybe gain some weight? And do you think your joints might fucking hurt? And do you think you might deal with some fucking negative mental things? I would say yes. Without
No, it's just cortisol.
it's just cortisol.
No, it's just cortisol.
So, now some people are giving some decent info where it's like, hey, your cortisol levels might be too high if you're waking up at 3 a.m. and, you're doing this and this and that and that. And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. The ways to lower cortisol, this is where things get impressive. So I'm going to do a test question with you. We'll ask an expert. I know the answer. Do you think that one specific exercise done once can lower your levels of cortisol?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do you think
Without a doubt.
do you think that low level nothing things like lay on your back and like windshield wiper your like 1 foot at a time, do you think that can lower your cortisol?
No, that is absolute bullshit.
Do you think that sitting there and squeezing your dumb
Dumb.
you just
Yeah.
think about what I wanted to say. Squeezing your thumb repeatedly
Yeah.
lowers your level of cortisol?
Oh, for sure. No, it does nothing.
No.
It does absolutely nothing.
No. Number one, if you want to know if your fucking levels of cortisol are high, I recommend you get a blood test. where you can find out what your cortisol levels are. Am I
So
off on that?
no, but the interesting thing about cortisol is that it's pretty fleeting, right? So the levels change quite frequently throughout the day. So in order to get an accurate picture of your cortisol, you need to take multiple blood tests over multiple days.
Okay, so
So
that's not happening. Never mind.
yeah, it's not like if
No,
you
it's
go
not
to and
happening.
it's any like medical professional, they're gonna be like, yeah, I can test your cortisol, but like it doesn't mean anything.
Yep. Okay, never mind. I just figured any hormone that's you get it from a blood test. Anyway.
Right. No, you can, right? And if you have the money and the means, like if you have the
Yeah.
means, you can do it. But your average Joe is not going to get 3 blood tests a day for 3 days in a row.
So here's my strategy, and you can correct me where I'm wrong. My strategy, if you're that interested in lowering your cortisol, number one would be to eat better and or well.
Yeah. Exercise.
Step two, oh, I didn't get there yet. Stop jumping my fucking gun. Step two, drink a shitload of water. Everyone's fucking dehydrated. Drink fucking water. So far, so good.
Yeah.
Okay. 3, get in better shape. However the fuck you want to do it, go fucking nuts. Because if you get in better shape, you will be less, or your cortisol level, you'll be under less stress. Your cortisol levels will be lower.
Right.
Now, in an endocrinology class or a physiology class, we can get further into that. We're not doing that. That ain't this shit.
Oh, you don't
Because
want to
most people
biohack?
on that. So I actually, this was pretty funny. John Goodman, the PTDC, and now he does like Quick Coach. He was like, I think I'm going to open a biohacker's paradise. It's going to be a hotel where there will be no hot water because cold baths.
Yep.
There'll be no beds because our ancestors used to sleep on the floor. There'll be no lights because I forget, I forget.
Yeah. Yeah.
There'll
But
be
it's all
no
the
internet.
bullshit like biohacker
Yeah.
stuff that they say.
Yeah. So effectively, he was going to open a hotel, charge a premium price for it, and it wouldn't offer anything. Literally nothing.
Right.
Maybe a door.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. Cortisol, body fat, strength. You can't do one fucking thing and have it fix something that's a more global problem.
Right.
Period. Done. Like, if you want your cortisol levels to go down, you need to eat better. You need to drink more water. You need to
Drink less
exercise.
caffeine.
You need to get in better shape, less caffeine. You need to go to fucking bed.
Yeah.
You take care of all of those things, they all actually end up kind of. So that's the thing, is like they all end up kind of taking care of themselves. Like,
Right.
suck at sleeping. All right. Well, what's your caffeine intake? No, everyone's gonna have no. Yeah, but
Yeah.
everyone's got a fucking but.
Right.
Everyone.
Right.
Yeah, but I wake up at 5:20.
Yeah.
For me to get 8 hours of sleep, what is that? 9:20? No. Yeah, 9:20
Yeah.
is 8 hours of
920.
sleep. It is
And
8:45.
that's 8 hours in bed, right? Like, are you going to be asleep for that entire time?
No, because I don't sleep, or I don't sleep through the night.
Right. Yeah, I don't either.
But it's 8:45. I'm
Yeah.
not going to bed by 9:20.
Right.
It's not happening.
Right.
It's like, oh, well, just go to bed earlier. Well, tomorrow night, I don't get home till 8:45 at the earliest.
Yeah.
Then I have to shower, clean my shit up. 8 hours of sleep ain't happening.
Right.
I do what I can.
Yeah.
Like, you need to globally get your shit in order if you want to improve whatever the fuck aspect.
Right.
And actually, everything becomes easier then, because then it's like cortisol levels are lower, body fat's lower, inflammation's lower. Everything's fucking better.
Yeah. The joints
But no,
hurt less.
just sit there and just squeeze your thumb.
Yeah.
for I don't know how fucking long. It's like the same thing as like like the people who go, oh, just meditate, just stare at a candle for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Real meditation people are like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, stare at a fucking candle.
Yeah, so she was getting a kick out of that.
Yeah.
And again, some people some people provide decent info with really really shitty fucking solutions. Like, because one of them she sent me with like there was a couple infographics. And I'm like, listen, those infographics, I think they're correct without like fact checking.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that info is right. There's just no solutions, or the solutions are like non-solutions.
Right. Right.
Like, instead of actually getting your fucking health and shit in order, which requires work, I'll give you that. It's hard to do. So without actually getting that shit in order, no, you can't just like lay on your back, fucking wiggle your toes and lower your cortisol.
Yeah. Yeah. If you think really hard, you can lower your cortisol. You
Cortisol is
don't.
just a mindset. Like if
Yeah.
you just like visualize having less cortisol, then like you'll like have almost none. Like you'll pretty much have zero, and that's what you want. You want zero cortisol.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want any at all. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that too. Something that our body produces naturally on its own.
Why am I blanking on the opposite of testosterone?
Estrogen.
Estrogen. It's like estrogen and cortisol.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they exist for a fucking reason. Same with cholesterol.
Right.
They all serve a very important purpose.
Right. Yeah, but no, they're bad. You want
You,
zero.
you need zero of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, something that your body makes on its own to survive.
Or actually, sorry, men should have
is
zero
bad.
estrogen,
Yeah.
and women should have zero testosterone.
Yeah. 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 Because neither of those serve a purpose, right?
Bad.
Yeah. Estrogen definitely isn't involved in the healing process.
No.
Definitely not.
No,
Nope.
no, 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 no. Gives you bitch tits.
Yeah. I'm
Makes
a
you
bitch.
makes you a soy boy or something.
Yeah. All right. So my final thought would be a relatively quick one here. Something I just thought was funny. I saw earlier today. A 77-year-old woman got fined $3,300 at an airport because she failed to declare a chicken sandwich in her bag. So I didn't see like the whole story. So I'm assuming she's not Australian, right? She flew into Australia from another country, and there was a chicken sandwich in her bag, and Australian authorities fined her $3,300. So she said that she declared her prescription medication, but forgot about the sandwich, or didn't realize that she needed to declare the sandwich. And so now this poor 77-year-old woman has to pay $3,300 to the Australian government for a chicken sandwich.
I'm struggling on that one.
So you're not allowed to
Yeah, well,
import meat.
that's what I'm saying. Like, part of me is like, you got to know the fucking rules.
Yeah, and part of me is like, why didn't you just eat the sandwich?
Yeah, that's why I'm like, and I don't give like, I'm trying to separate myself from the 77-year-old part. Because like, if it was like a 32-year-old like white person from New York, I wouldn't feel bad at all.
Right.
Yeah. Know the rules. Like,
Yeah.
did you need to pack the sandwich in your bag?
Yeah.
I don't know on that one.
Yeah. I mean, that's also a lot of money for fucking
Yeah, it seems like
chicken
a lot.
sandwich.
Well,
Right.
because it's like the fine's the fine. Not going into specifics.
Right.
Yeah. It's tough all around.
Yeah. But
That's the
read
thing.
that,
If like
and
if
I
you
was
don't
like,
have
oh
but
man,
if you
that
don't
fucking
have that shit,
sucks.
like someone's gonna bring a fucking live chicken with them. Like that's the problem.
Right.
Because like without the rule, for as menial as that seems, it's to prevent the opposite.
Right. And also Australia, because it's an island, um,
Yeah, it's
has
gonna be
like
strict.
protected species and things like that. So like if you bring something that's not supposed to be there, and God forbid, like it's carrying a disease, right? And then it spreads. So you brought the chicken, right? You
Yeah,
brought the
live
chicken,
chicken.
but the chicken comes from fucking California. And
Peruvian bird flu.
it has the California bird flu that all the birds had a couple of years ago, and they're all fine. Well, then you bring the California chicken to Australia, and now every single chicken in Australia dies because they weren't immune. Kind of, actually, if you think about it, it's really fucked up. But it's kind of like the whole Thanksgiving thing with the smallpox blankets. Kind of the same thing,
Uh,
right? Like, it being Thanksgiving, only a few days ago. um, yeah, yeah, you want to avoid the smallpox blankets for the chickens, right? And the whatever other animals. So you're not allowed to bring anything into Australia. Well, that's going to do it for us. So thank you for watching if you're on YouTube. Don't forget to click subscribe up above, hit the like button down below. If you're an audio only listener, subscribe as well over there, wherever platform you're on. If you use Spotify or Apple, you can leave us a review. So go do that. I appreciate it. I appreciate you for doing that. Thank you. Thank you. You're the best. And then tell everybody you know about the show. So then they can leave reviews too and subscribe and thumbs up on YouTube and things of the such. And you can get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. Or on Twitter at sarcasm_speaks. Facebook is Sarcasm Speaks. The website, sarcasmspeaks.com. You go to the merch store, buy some of the merch. And what else? Oh, yeah, Noon Brew. Go to noonbrew.com. Use the promo code in the show notes, and that will get you 10% off your order every single time you check out. And then we also have mybookie.com. Use the promo code sarcasmpod when you first sign up with mybookie.com, and they will double your first deposit up to $1,000. So that's it for us. Until next time, good night, everybody.